Yeah, do you like my mug? The Butler. I don't remember who got this for me, but someone did. My mum has, I think, her ladyship. My dad has something similar. And then I have the Butler. Classic. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a lovely day. So, as you can see by the title of this video, today we are talking endometriosis. So today we are talking about the symptoms of endometriosis that everyone should really know. For those of you who don't know, endometriosis is a condition affecting 1 in 10 women and people born into the female sex. And it is basically when tissue similar to the lining of the womb forms in other places. It has now been found on every single organ in the body, and its symptoms are often misunderstood, and I think people don't really get what this condition is. People often assume that this condition is just a bad period, but let me tell you, it is a lot more than just a bad period. And side note, it's not your period. So basically the tissue that forms in other places outside of the womb, it reacts to the hormones of your menstrual cycle. So like your womb sheds and bleeds, this tissue will bleed as well. So it is linked in some ways to your period, but it is not your period. So let's get started. Now, the first symptom is extremely painful period pains. Now, I am talking pain typically to the point where you can't work or go to school. Over-the-counter pain relief doesn't help. You might have nausea or actually throw up. You might pass out, things like this. So pain that is very extreme. This is one of the more common symptoms of endometriosis, and it's something that is often dismissed. So many people, when they go to their doctors or they talk to their friends about this excruciating period pain that they get, they're told that it's normal, or that they have a low pain threshold, or that it's in their head, or whatever it might be. Let's be clear, pain to that extent on your period is not normal. And please, if you do have that symptom, go and speak to your doctor. And if they dismiss you, maybe speak to another doctor, and so on and so on, because unfortunately a lot of doctors are still very dismissive of this symptom, even though it can be a sign that something is not quite right. The second symptom that I want to talk about is more general pelvic, abdominal, back pain. So this doesn't have to be on your period. That's something else that people often get a bit confused about. Endometriosis can cause pain outside of your period. It's not just pain on your period. It might be for some people, but it isn't for everyone. So this can be abdominal, pelvic, or back pain on your period, or when you're not on your period, more generally. The next symptom is painful sex. Now, this is something that I think people still don't always talk about as much, but it can have a massive impact on a person's life. Not everyone with endometriosis gets this symptom, as with all of the symptoms that I'm about to discuss, but it is one of the symptoms of endometriosis. And again, it's not normal. Sex should not be causing you pain. The next symptom of endo is bowel issues. So this might be diarrhea, constipation, often linked with your period, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. I feel like these symptoms often get mistaken for maybe like IBS or something like that, which of course it can be, but sometimes it's not. And these sort of bowel issues can also be linked to your endometriosis. The symptoms that you get often depend on where your endometriosis is. For example, if it is on your bowel, if it's on your bladder, if it's in your diaphragm, your symptoms may differ depending on the location. So linked with that is you may also have bladder issues. So that could be to do with pain, it could be problems completely emptying your bladder, it could be incontinence, which again, these symptoms can occur with bowel movements too. The next symptom can be extremely heavy periods. Now, this differs again from person to person. You can have endometriosis without having very heavy periods and vice versa. But sometimes people do experience extremely heavy bleeding when they're on their period. And again, that is something to keep an eye out for. The next symptom is nausea and sickness. Now, this is often linked in with pain. When we experience extreme pain, we often feel sick. We might even throw up. But sometimes it can cause nausea and sickness even outside of pain, again, depending on where your endometriosis might be located. Another symptom is if you have maybe thoracic or diaphragmatic endometriosis, you might get shoulder tip pain. Now, typically, I believe it's right shoulder tip pain, although I'm sure there have been people who experience it in their left shoulder. Now, I have had this. I've not been diagnosed with diaphragmatic or thoracic endometriosis, but I have definitely experienced this symptom a lot. And basically, when I breathe in, it doesn't happen all the time. It tends to happen linked with my period. But when I breathe in, it's like I'm being stabbed in my shoulder tip, and it is so painful just to breathe. It's a really uncomfortable symptom. Not even uncomfortable, it's like agony. But that is another symptom that can occur when you have thoracic or diaphragmatic endometriosis. You may also get sort of wider chest pain, pain in your ribs, things like that. Some people, even when they have diaphragmatic or thoracic endometriosis, will experience a pneumothorax. I think that's what it's called. Basically, that is when your lung collapses, and that is very serious, and it requires emergency medical attention. So this is what I'm saying though. People dismiss this as just a bad period, which, side note, bad period pains are horrific, but still, it is a lot more than that. Unfortunately, another symptom can be difficulty when you are trying to get pregnant, because it is believed that somewhere between 30 and 50% of people with endometriosis deal with infertility. So that can be another warning sign. Now, the thing with all of these symptoms is that endometriosis is a spectrum. So some people will have loads of these symptoms really severely to the point where they can't work, they're bedbound like constantly, whereas another individual may have near to no symptoms. It's such an individual condition. And yeah, I just really wish that people knew these symptoms, especially when it comes to like the painful periods and things like that, and even the painful sex, because they're dismissed as normal so much. And it's just not true. It's really sad when you talk to someone who has been diagnosed with endometriosis. Most of the time, they will have had multiple experiences of doctors dismissing their pain as, you know, oh, it's normal. If you have a menstrual cycle, that's just normal. You just have to deal with it, and your pain threshold is just low. It's not true. It is not true. And I really, really, really hope that at some point that changes and that people take it more seriously and take the symptoms more seriously, because I know multiple people who have endometriosis and who have also given birth who say that their endometriosis pain is worse than the labour contractions they experienced. This condition is on the NHS's list of the 20 most painful conditions. Endo's on there, and people still dismiss it. And I just hope with all of my heart that that changes, so that future generations don't have to go through as much of the heartache and loneliness that so many people have had to go through to get diagnosed today. So yes, I hope that you found this video helpful, and if you do have these symptoms, please go and speak to a doctor and don't let them dismiss you. Take a list of all your symptoms, maybe keep a journal of when you get this symptom or that symptom. Be brutally honest about how much it affects your life on your worst days. Like, just give it to them. And I really hope that if that is you, you do get the help that you deserve, because no one should have to go through these symptoms and be dismissed at the same time. It's not right. And yeah, if you are someone who's dealing with this and you're feeling like you're struggling, or maybe you want someone to chat to or a bit more advice, you can always message me over on my Instagram, which I'll link in the description box below, where I talk a lot more about endometriosis and chronic illness and disabilities and things like that. And I might take a little while to respond. Sometimes I do, I won't lie, but I will reply, I promise. And yeah, I just wouldn't want anyone feeling like they're alone in this, because it can be such a difficult process. And I feel like if you've not been through something similar, it can be very hard to comprehend just how hard it is to be in so much agony and be told that it's in your head, or that what you're dealing with is normal, or there's nothing wrong with you. Because for me, at least, when I was going through that before I got diagnosed, I really started to think that I was losing my mind a little bit. And it's sad that when I got diagnosed, the first thing I said when they rolled me out of the recovery room back to my mum and my boyfriend was that I'm not crazy. Because medical professionals had been gaslighting me so much that I was led to believe that everything was in my head and I was making it up and all this jazz. And that's not right. Like, you shouldn't really be feeling relief when you're diagnosed with a condition that doesn't have a cure. But that's what so many of us feel, is relief that we have an answer finally for what we're going through. And yeah, I just hope that that changes, and I hope that this video was helpful and informative, and please spread the word, because we really need to work on raising awareness for this condition that affects so many lives in such a big way. And yeah, I hope that you found this video helpful, and I am sending you all the biggest virtual hug ever. If you have any other questions about endometriosis, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below, or if you want to see a specific video on endo, let me know what you would like to see and I will be sure to film that for you all. I hope that you have a lovely day, and yes, look after yourselves. Mwah. Thanks for watching. Bye.